Good morning, Crossroads students, and happy Monday. Is there such thing as a happy Monday? I don't know. But I'm glad you are watching this video this morning, and I'm excited for what we're going to talk about today. What we're going to talk about is something that we've actually been talking about as a whole church. For the past 2 weeks, our church has been in this series called Circle Maker. And I actually had the privilege yesterday to preach one of the messages. And the whole idea of this series called the Circle Maker is that we as a church, and this includes you, students who are watching here on YouTube, we are looking as a church at different areas in our lives where we can draw circles and pray over those areas. So the idea and kind of picture of drawing a circle is just a way to identify an area of our life where we want to invite God in and pray over. Now, we understand as Christians that God is in control of everything in our life. There is nothing that surprises God. We are not going to change God's mind through our prayer. God's way and God's will is the way it's going to be. But prayer is so important because prayer often aligns our hearts and our inner being with what God's will is. So that's what we've been talking about at Crossroads, and that's what I want to talk a little bit about today, the significance of prayer and the importance of identifying areas in our life that we can pray over. And we're not praying for the sake of trying to change God's mind. We are praying so that ourselves, our inner being, can be transformed in the way that God would want it to be. If you were at church yesterday, we talked about the importance of praying through things, praying for the long term. It is so important when we are going through situations or circumstances in our life to be persistent in prayer. We looked at a scripture yesterday from the book of Daniel, and I want to read that here this morning. It's Daniel chapter 10, verses 12 through 14. And Daniel here, he is having a conversation with an angel. It's kind of crazy, but Daniel was having a conversation with an angel. And this angel came to Daniel because Daniel had been praying for 21 days. He had been praying over a situation, a circumstance in his life for 21 days. And Daniel, he had been praying for 21 days for his people, the people of Israel, to be free from under the rule of this really evil king. And this angel comes to Daniel in the 21st day of his prayer and says this to him. He says, "Do not be afraid, Daniel. Since the first day you began to pray for understanding and to humble yourself before God, your request has been heard in heaven. I have come in answer to your prayer, but for 21 days the evil spirit blocked my way. Then Michael, one of the archangels, came to help me, and I left him there with the evil spirit. Now I am here to explain what will happen to your people in the future, for this vision concerns a time yet to come." So the angel talks about a bunch of different things in there. He talks about this crazy spiritual warfare that is happening over Daniel's prayer. But the angel also puts a really strong emphasis on the importance of praying the long game, praying long term. You see, the angel says here that it is so important to pray for the long term. Praying long and being persistent in prayer is so important. Daniel didn't quit praying until he had this interaction with this angel, and neither should we. My encouragement to you today is no matter what you're going through, no matter what situation you're in, no matter what season of life you're in, no matter how good life is or how bad life is, keep on praying. Be persistent in your prayer. Identify those areas in your lives that you want to invite God in and pray over them. Draw circles around them and be persistent in your prayer.